Welcome back to Passion About Music Education, and I'm Rachel Hardman, and today we're going to talk about how important self-care is and how you will know if you're doing self-care and if your colleagues are doing self-care. We've heard the word self-care thrown around in education over the last year. Oh, you teachers need to self-care, but what does that actually mean? Well, self-care is where you put yourself first, which really as teachers is a brand new concept because we've always been told to put the children first and our colleagues in the school and lesson planning, all the other stuff. So to suddenly go, hey, turn that off, now put yourself first is a new concept for a lot of us to switch to. And if you're a parent, you're a partner, you have other responsibilities in your life, and you're a teacher, the chances are you are a giver. You are somebody who looks after a lot of people, the welfare of lots of people. So it's quite natural for you not to necessarily put yourself at that top of the list. And a lot of us have found over the years that we've been programmed, conditioned into believing that self-care is being selfish. Putting yourself first above others is selfish. And so, of course, everybody's talked about self-care for teachers, but they're asking us to change generally a big mindset shift to do that. But why is it really important? Well, the human spirit needs growth, whether that's physical growth, emotional growth, intellectual growth, or spiritual growth. We need things to keep pushing ourselves forward, to keep the brain active, to keep our sense of purpose and fulfillment and joy in our life. And it's really very easy to have those moments, but not consistently throughout your life. And that's when sometimes the days get a bit boring. We turn up on autopilot. We're on, the 5th year of teaching the same scheme of work, and go home and do all the normal stuff we do there. And it's really easy to sort of lose that drive and lose that purpose. But that's what self-care gives us, that moment throughout the day, the three or four times a day, doing small, short self-care for you will bring back some joy back into your life, and it will bring back some moments for you to reflect on what it is that you want from life going forward. Not just what you want in your career, but also outside of work. And I really wanted to tell you a couple of stories because it's really noticeable when staff don't self-care and when staff do self-care. So I have a colleague who similar age to me and has sort of been struggling with the whole change of education at the moment and not being able to teach a subject in the way that she's always taught it and having all the restrictions. And this has had a real impact on how she feels because a lot of her confidence as a teacher, a lot of her sort of personality is tied into being a good teacher and presenting those really amazing lessons. And by all the restrictions, she doesn't feel she's teaching in the same way, and she doesn't feel that joy that she normally gets during the day. So she's been really struggling with mindset and positivity and knows that it's impacting her outside of the classroom. So what's she changed? Well, she's really dug deep into the pies. She's working on her physical well-being. She's bought herself a Fitbit, she's doing lots of exercise, and is losing weight and fitting into clothes that she used to be able to wear and instantly feels so much better. She's brought in self-care back into her home life. So she has Self-Care Thursday where she does a bubble bath and a manicure and a facial, and that's her night. And then she's also brought in the intellectual growth, signed up for a new course, linked with education, but a course that she wants to do to grow herself. And it's amazing the difference having those small changes on a consistent basis has made to how she turns up, how she feels about herself, the joy that she's bringing back into the classroom, but also into her own life. And then there's another colleague who's a little bit younger, sort of starting off in her career, and at the moment it's all very overwhelming. There's a lot to learn. She's a new teacher, there's lots of procedures. She's having to do the teacher training course online. So of course all that lesson planning and writing up and reflecting, which we all remember was so much paperwork in those first year or two. And that really has had an impact on how she feels outside the classroom. And she works outside of school as well and doing arts. And she was struggling. She wanted to feel some growth and she couldn't feel growth because she felt stuck. She was like, I'm stuck, I'm doing all of this and some of it's not bringing me joy. And actually what she needed was a place of her own. She was back living with mum and dad, and she wanted to move out a year ago, and with all the sort of restrictions that didn't happen. And though she was very worried about how her parents would feel about her moving out and what they would think, and would they be disappointed and upset, she's now made that very brave step to think about her emotional well-being, what her home life looks like, how having her own home with the dog, and putting new furniture in, and a place that she can bring friends around, and just feel that sense of growth and that purpose. Because she's made that decision, again, she's now turning up much more infused and has something to look forward to, and she's thinking about where she's going to live and planning all of that, and you can instantly see that difference. So there are two really short but very powerful examples of colleagues who have had to change their mindset to putting themselves first, which is quite alien to them, because they're using pies and working on pies as part of self-care, the physical, intellectual, emotional and spiritual growth we need as human beings all the way through our life. Because they're now doing that, they're not only happier within themselves, but they're bringing that new energy, that new vibrance for life back into the classroom and into the workplace. If you're struggling at the moment with any form of negative mindset, any form of anxiety or even depression, the first place you do have to start with is yourself, and look at practicing those things that make you happy. What makes you happy? What brings joy to your life? Is it reading? Is it listening to music? Is it playing music for yourself? Is it going for a walk? Is it taking the dog for a walk? Is it talking to friends? Is it having that bubble bath? Is it having that coffee with the frothy milk on the top? Whatever it is that makes you happy, go do lots more of it. You will find the time. You will have the space to find the time, which will make doing your classwork and all the rest that we have to do less stressful, because you'll be turning up in a much better frame of mind, because you're also doing these self-care activities which will help de-stack the stress each day. And that's really important to stop ongoing burnout and stress. So go now, straight away, do some self-care, write down what's important to you in the chat, share with us. It's good to know what colleagues like to do, and I'll see you again on this channel. My name is Rachel Hardman, and this is Passionate About Music Education.